A charity in Salisbury is getting the public involved in their Christmas Shoebox appeal. A health charity has kept its gardens open during lockdown. And a panto is being put on for Christmas at the Theatre Royal. Good afternoon and welcome to Winchester News Online. I'm Alex Smith. Before we get started, our reporter Olivia Fraser has a coronavirus update for you.
We're almost halfway through lockdown and coronavirus cases are still remaining high. Average cases in Winchester are at 173 per 100,000, which although is below the UK average, the city has still seen a rise in 20 cases compared with the previous week. With 21,363 cases and 213 deaths recorded in the UK yesterday, total cases have now reached over 52,000, along with almost 1.4 million deaths. Now there may be hope as US company Moderna has produced a vaccine, which early data shows nearly 95% protection against COVID-19. Secretary of State for Health and Social Care Matt Hancock has announced that the government have secured the initial agreement for 5 million doses of the Moderna vaccine that could be available from spring next year. But in the meantime, the Pfizer vaccine, which can prevent 90% of people from getting COVID, could be made available to the public as soon as December 1st. However, there are still uncertainties surrounding the immunity and whether it can prevent the spread of the virus that will affect how the vaccines will be used. That's the latest on coronavirus. Back to you, Alex.
Several months of lockdown gave the country lots of time to reflect and appreciate our surroundings. With many people turning to their local parks and making the most of the great outdoors, the environment became a big part of keeping this country's spirits up. Horatios Garden, a charity based in Salisbury, was able to keep their gardens open to support spinal centres across the UK, with the hope of aiding both their mental and physical health. Our reporter, Ellie Clout, spoke to the charity about their continued efforts during the pandemic.
The benefits of the environment and green spaces are something many of us no longer take for granted following the coronavirus lockdowns. Horatios Garden is working to provide every spinal centre across the UK with a beautiful garden, in turn helping out as many patients as possible to feel the benefits of an outside common space. Green spaces are undoubtedly good for both our mental and physical health, but for most spinal patients, the opportunity to go outside is often taken away due to their injuries. The charity stayed open during both lockdowns to continue to provide patients with the benefits of the outside.
So yes, the products are different. We haven't been able to have the barbecues and the live music and the Christmas fairs and all the things that make it, such a vibrant place often. But in its pure essence of the gardens being opened, and now through the winter with the garden rooms being a really kind of lovely natural space for people to use away from the ward.
Whilst many gardens close down for winter, Horatios Garden stays open for the patients. The COVID-19 summer lockdown left many patients unable to have visitors, making the garden's importance more crucial than ever.
We were blessed with a really nice spring and some lovely weather through the spring and summer. So the opportunity to feel the sun on their faces, hear the birds sing, just close their eyes and forget that they're in hospital for a bit. All those sorts of things have been of immeasurable value.
There are currently 50,000 people living in the UK with a spinal injury, and 2,500 people are newly injured every year. And the charity hopes to provide every spinal centre in the UK with a garden to make more patients have a positive experience.
The more hospitals they can get this in, the better, because the more people that have like an awful life-changing thing happen to them have the same experience that I did in Horatios Garden, the better. I mean, I truly think that it turned a corner for me. I was in a horrible place when I arrived, and it really helped me sort of turn that corner into right now. It's not about I'm in hospital. It's about I'm recovering to get back in the real world again. And I think the more people that can experience that, the better.
With work starting on the 5th Horatios Garden, the charity hopes to continue to provide a relief to spinal patients across the UK. Ellie Clout, Winchester News Online.
8 libraries across Hampshire have closed, and dozens more are having their opening hours reduced in an attempt to almost save £2 million. Hager Hagen has the latest.
Users might meet closed doors as Hampshire County Council is reducing their library service. The council has decided to close individual library branches and to reduce opening hours for remaining libraries in an attempt to save almost £1.8 million.
A public consultation done this spring showed that most respondents preferred a cut in overall opening hours to individual branch closures. Originally, Hampshire County Council proposed to close 10 libraries, but have after the consultation decided to close 8 libraries and to reduce opening hours by 20% on average. Winchester Discovery Centre will face the biggest cut in opening hours, with its hours being cut by a third.
In terms of making the savings that we absolutely need to make, there wasn't really another way around it. People were expecting reduction in opening hours anyway, and in fact, one of the proposals was to see opening hours reduced by 25%. In fact, what we've managed to achieve is less than that. It's 20% overall reduction in opening hours.
The library service is offering alternative ways people can borrow books, but in many areas, libraries have become community hubs, and those could disappear now.
I think this closure, and that's why I fear for the future of it, I feel it's denying access to valuable resources to the elderly and to the young.
Although the library service will be drastically reduced, some of the closing libraries will be turned into independent community libraries. It is still uncertain what will happen to library staff's jobs, but some staff might be redeployed within the county council and some staff might be made redundant. With the use of libraries changing, the future will show if the library service manages to adapt. Hege Hagen, Winchester News Online.
Having been stripped of shops, cinemas and pubs during the first lockdown, more and more people have taken to nature. Outdoor locations have responded to this enthusiasm and fought to keep their gates open about the restrictions. Adele Bouchard reports.
Public gardens are remaining open across the New Forest as a space for exercise throughout the lockdown. This follows the latest government guidance on the national restrictions that you can exercise or visit public outdoor spaces, which includes public gardens and grounds, whether or not you have to pay for entry. Gardening therapist Annabelle Padwick hopes the guidance stems from the government seeing the importance of getting outside for people's well-being.
The importance of public gardens and outside spaces are crucial, especially for people that don't have access. It could be a massive difference between them getting through lockdown and them not getting through lockdown. So what those gardens do is give people a place where they can go and just relax, be amongst nature, breathe in that fresh air and just get a different sort of headspace and perspective than they might have within four walls.
One garden staying open is the New Forest, Exbury Gardens. Normally the popular location would be closed by now for routine garden and railway maintenance, but have kept their gates open following popular demand on social media.
We've had such extraordinary feedback from all of our visitors about what it means to them to be able to get out into the fresh air, into wide open spaces where they feel safe. You know, the team at Exbury have worked incredibly hard to put in all of the sort of measures to ensure that we are COVID secure. When it means so much to people and you've got that ability to provide some joy in a pretty grim environment for a lot of people at the moment, we felt that it completely felt the right thing to do.
With limited reasons to leave the house and substantial benefits for our health and well-being, getting outside is truly important. Keeping spaces like Exbury open allows everyone, including those without a garden, to enjoy the outdoors whilst keeping to the lockdown restrictions. Now we've moved away from the instruction, stay indoors, hopefully people will get outside in nature, whatever the weather. Adele Bouchard, Winchester News Online.
With the second lockdown now in full swing, leisure centres and gyms have had to close. Has the right decision been made? Our reporter Rebecca Bradley finds out how gyms closing really affects people's lives.
Gyms and fitness centres were one of the last businesses to reopen at the end of July, following the first lockdown. Sadly, under the latest lockdown rules, they are set to be closed again. The UK government has been urged to reclassify swimming pools, gyms and leisure centres as essential services vital to the public health. The real question is, why are people so eager for them to stay open? Gym manager Mike Carter shares his thoughts.
People that don't train very often just think of the gym as being somewhere where you just lift some heavy weights and you just get a bit sweaty and then you go home. And actually, especially gyms like ours, it's about the community, and that's something we are really focused on here, is that it is potentially the best part of your day, that you come in here, it's your home away from home, you get to celebrate some PBs or let out some frustration from the day, you get to talk to some people that know you, understand what you're going through, what your journey is, and I think it's a real shame that they just decided to say, okay, we're just going to close everything, regardless of what it is.
Not only do gyms help us physically and mentally, but without them, many people lose a sense of community, which can be difficult to stay away from. Although gyms are closing and there's not much stopping it from happening, people can only look forward for them to reopen again and try their best to keep active and healthy in these circumstances. Rebecca Bradley, Winchester News Online.
With Christmas just around the corner, one charity in Salisbury is asking the public to get involved once again with their Christmas Shoebox appeal. Cara Simmons finds out more.
With the festive season upon us, many are excited to give and receive gifts from our loved ones. This year, more than ever, the charity of the Foundation for Social Change and Inclusion are holding a Christmas box appeal.
It's enabling anybody who wants to make a difference to somebody else's life through the donation of essential items and some treat items that were all packaged together in a lovely box that's normally decorated with Christmas paper. The charity provide a list of all the items that are allowed to be packed because they have to be shipped overseas, but also the items that people really are needing. And they're things that we take for granted, actually.
And with the drop-off point here at the University of Winchester, students and members of the public alike can contribute.
This is a community activity that is accessible for more people to get involved with. And I think, especially at Christmas, people really feel they want to be giving not just presents to their friends and family, but actually to other people for whom it would really make a big difference. And that really taps into people's hearts, I think, at this time of the year.
But the 2020 appeal has proven to be a particular challenge for the workers and volunteers involved.
Normally, right now, we would be collecting in Christmas boxes and we'd have a warehouse open and it'd be full of volunteers sorting and packing the boxes and getting them ready for shipping. We've had to revise our normal timeline, which would usually see Christmas boxes being shipped at the beginning of December in order to be distributed on the run to Christmas itself. Well, now we're going to ship boxes in February.
The coronavirus pandemic has meant that this festive season will be slightly different for all of us. And for some families that aren't so fortunate, the Christmas box appeal makes their day that little bit more special. Cara Simmons, Winchester News Online.
The popular Christmas panto is set to go ahead at the Theatre Royal despite ongoing pandemic. The show, 4 Dames in Search of a Panto, will launch at the start of December. The show will be held in the theatre and there will be performances available online. The theatre will also be hosting bands, singers and a chance for children to meet Santa Claus. You're now all caught up. Thank you so much for joining us. Alex Smith, Winchester News Online.